This is one of the first tools that I recommend for new artists that want to get started in digital art. This is actually what I started with when I did digital art, and it's nothing fancy, but it'll get you started. The one that I used is called a Wacom Intuos. I'm not even sure if that's how you pronounce it. And I don't endorse this company specifically, it's just what I used. But it was a nice, cheap option to get started with digital art. And I have it right here, which is out of frame. It's right here, that way, yes. You can see that it has a cord. This is an old one, so they might be wireless now? I'm not sure. I haven't used it in a long time, but it still works perfectly fine. I have used it. I still use it sometimes in a pinch when I need to because it's very portable and easy to carry around. But usually what I'm using is this, which is off camera. I guess I can show you it maybe. I mean, it's gonna, there we go. Oh yeah, perfect, kind of. It's out of focus, but this is what I use for work. And this is what a lot of professionals use, but it's very expensive. And as you can see, I have it on a nice little arm that can move it around. But yeah, that's my main drawing tablet, and I'm just gonna put it over there. But you know, once you start to make money with your art, you can afford to invest in better equipment. That's the same as any kind of field, right? This is actually not that bad. I don't mind using it, and actually some artists, some professional artists today still use this, and I'll get into why they still use this later. But let me cut into a close-up of this so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's get this expensive one out of the way. This isn't the exact one that I started with, but it's similar. This is kind of the upgraded, big, gigantic version of it, and I drew on this for, it must have been, I don't know, like 6 years. I think I drew on a tablet like this. Yeah, so this is basically what I worked on for, yeah, 6 years, 10 years, something like that. I got a really little one, and it was super affordable. I think it was like $100. They still have really cheap ones right now. I don't think Wacom matters that much. What really matters, and I'm gonna steal the pen off of this, what is very important and really messed me up when I was drawing on a tablet that didn't have this, and this is so crucial. So when I put my pen down here, I'm drawing in a certain area of the canvas. You know, obviously I'm looking at the monitor, but when I move over here, I want the space to be the same as the movement of the stylus. Maybe I can explain that in a better way. There are certain tablets, and it's really unfortunate that they're this way, where you're drawing here, you know, you're drawing here, and then you move over here to draw in another part of your image, and it's in the same spot because it's not tracking the movement around it. I think it was called like bamboo or something like that, but it drove me nuts. Even though this, you can't see anything on this. This is just like, can I pull that up? I think I can. I know I can. Yeah. Oh, it's dirty. Whoa, it's so dirty. Anyway, let's put that back down. The point is that this is not a screen. This is just a blank surface, and you're drawing on it, and you're looking at the monitor. And that's different from this big bad boy right here. This, you can see exactly what you're drawing on. It's a monitor and a drawing tablet at the same time. It's very expensive, so I wouldn't really suggest going with that one. This is a good starter for digital art, and it's gonna take some getting used to because you're drawing here and you're looking up at the monitor. It doesn't really take as long as you would think that it would. I would say if you were doing this every day, that you'll probably adjust to it in a week or two, and then it'll feel like second nature. The other thing with this, and this is gonna be crazy to hear, but some of the best professional painters still use this thing. Why would they do that? Well, that's because when you're drawing on here, your hand and your pen is not getting in the way of the image. And this is really good for painting. You can see the whole painting as you're painting it. What this is not good for is drawing, in my opinion, because you're doing strokes, you're making marks, but you don't get to see it down as you're doing it. I had a real hard time when I was doing background design working with this thing. And that's when I first invested in like a very, very old, which as far as I know is the only monitor that you can draw on that puts the marks where you're drawing them. But this is great to start out. I mean, it has like a few little hotkeys that you can put to, like, you know, I would recommend like brush, eraser, move, and undo or something like that, and then a little slide panel that you can change the size of your brush or rotate, stuff like that. But you know, that's not as important. I usually have a little keyboard over here to do the shortcuts. But this is a good starting out tool to get started with digital art. I used it for a long time before I upgraded to the Cintiq over there, and you know, I had to do digital art for a living, so I think, you know, being able to paint directly into whatever program you're using is so beneficial. You know, you can paint it out and then save it and upload it. You don't have to worry about the lighting of the photo, the color being correct. You know, it's all exactly how other people are gonna see it. So I highly recommend getting some kind of tablet, as long as it has that kind of spatial positioning and it doesn't just treat it like a mouse. Oh, also, the pressure sensitivity is very important. Anything over 1024 is going to be good for like feeling the sensitivity of the pen so that you can make it, you know, thin to thick or light to dark. I would also recommend trying to get a big surface like this. It doesn't have to be this size, but having a big surface to draw on is very important, because I want you to use your whole arm. I don't want any kind of like this kind of stuff, because that's going to be very shaky and detaily. You want big strokes. I mean, you know, these are really important marks to make because you can make them a lot straighter, a lot more accurate. Drawing big long strokes, very important. And you draw from your shoulder or your elbow. Of course, there can be times where you're doing that, but these kind of marks, getting the gesture down, you know, that stuff really helps. Yeah, highly recommend.